Yeah, Ryan, I just noticed the Kirby shirt. That's my favorite character to play on Smash. Like that's my go-to character. If I'm playing someone, I'm like, you know what? I need to get a win on my belt. Going to Kirby.
Kirby is pretty bomb. I mean, he can basically take anyone's power. So
yeah, exactly.
Done.
Yeah,
that's true. Good old Kirby. But
hey, aunties, it's Ryan
and Todd from Oh Hey the podcast.
What's brewing today?
Introducing Oh Hey the podcast.
Ask your aunties, he got dirty nails.
And Biden, what have you done for me lately? So get your cups ready for Minority Report.
Well, hello. Welcome to Minority Report. It's Auntea Kerel.
Auntea Dawon here.
And Auntie Jerrell.
And welcome back to Juan. Al.
Yeah, she's back. She found her luggage, y'all. She did it.
I know we missed you last week.
I missed y'all so much.
Like it was
I saw
weird.
all the posts and all that. I haven't watched the whole video, the whole podcast yet. I'm going to be listening to it tomorrow when I'm flying back from Chicago. But I felt a little left out. But I was spending time with my grandma, who I hadn't seen in 2.5 years. We were at the Olive Garden. The Olive Garden with the in it. For dinner at 4:00, and we didn't stop until 7:30. So it was, the conversation was deep and we were having fun, and I couldn't break away. So
did you get all them breast sticks?
I was just about to say that element of salad and breast sticks, yo.
She was grubbing.
That bill was $104. I'm like, how did I have a bill of $104 at that freaking Olive Garden? But
was most of it drinks?
We had no, it was all food. It was all food. So yeah. so she is clearly not having a summer body anytime soon.
That's okay.
Girl, I know she is not talking, because she sure was in the elevator stunting on them hoes. Being like, oh, look at me.
Right.
Oh, I'm gonna hit you with another pose in the bedroom though.
Right.
Bam.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Doing all them smizing and everything. Come on, boo. We saw you.
She got a fish for a couple of compliments. She's old. She's a little old and long in the tooth.
Okay.
Look, she was hooked over here, girl. I was like, okay,
I got me too.
Right.
Got you salivating. Okay.
Damn. I'm buying what you're selling, girl.
Well, community, it's another week, and we have another great couple of guests from Oh Hey the podcast, and we'll let you do the auntie names up front because we kind of forgot late in the episode last week. So what are your auntie names?
I am Auntie Skinny Vanilla Latte.
Ow.
And I'm Auntie Water, because water is so versatile.
I'm dying.
I don't know that ministry, but good for you.
that versatile life.
Love it. He's water. You got to keep it moving, or else it starts getting a little stank and green. And
Are we talking about kinks now? Are we talking about kinks?
Right. That sounds like water sports now.
Right. It's like, okay, damn it. Hey, first life on that too. Do what you gotta do. Water everywhere. But they're from the Oh Hey the podcast. So how did it start? How did you two meet? Like, are you friends? Were you lovers once upon a time? Give us the tea on how that started.
Well, we did meet via the apps. I think it was Scruff, right?
It's been forever ago.
Yeah.
So it's never about sex. It was always about kayaking or something.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Let's back that up. So you got on the apps to find kayaking buddies? Is that possible on Scruff and Grindr?
I was one of those stupid people that thought you could go on there and make friends, but it worked. Like, I made friends. So.
I mean, I guess I was also one of those other stupid people.
Hey, it worked out. That's interesting.
We could have used y'all for the Ask Your Aunties a couple episodes.
True that.
About finding friends on apps.
It's true, because we're I'm trying to think if I ever, maybe one, but it kind of started
a little rough.
It started more trying to be sexual, but then it wasn't it. I was like, no, that ain't it. But we became great friends. So I guess maybe in a way.
Well, we were just very upfront about our intentions.
Yeah.
I think the solidifying moment was I asked him if he watched RuPaul, and he's like, "Yeah, I have cable." And
get this. Like I'm just sitting there one night because we progressed from the apps to texting. This had gone a year or so.
Yeah.
And then out of the blue, he said, "Hey, do you have cable?" I'm like, "Yeah." I never met him face to face. Do you have cable? Do you watch RuPaul? Can I come over?
Yeah.
And
I mean, I'm like one of those millennials that don't like. I want to cut the cords, and I was like, I'm not going to fucking pay, Spectrum or whoever all this money.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
And then I was like, let me find someone I could watch RuPaul with. And then we started bonding over that. I would just go over to his place and watch RuPaul every once in a while. And I think we had another friend over one night when we were talking. Wasn't Michael there?
Yeah. Our friend Michael was there, and we were talking about dildos and douching. I don't know.
Sounds like a normal conversation to me.
Yeah. Well, so Ryan knew so much about it, and we were both naive. Like, there were just lots of questions we had, and
you see how she just threw him under the bus,
right?
Well,
Love it.
I mean,
he's been under a few things.
Ow!
Yeah. I try to
Auntie Water.
Oh,
She really is versatile.
That water
That's
was
what
running.
she's using that water for.
Right, that water was running extra clear.
You know it. So yeah, we kind of bonded over that, and then we were since I was like so open with my experience with toys and shit. Our common friend Michael was like, "Oh my God, this would make such a great podcast." And like Todd jokingly said, like, "Oh yeah, let's do a podcast." And then I took it dead ass serious, and I was like, "Oh, we're doing this." And like in the next few days, I was like, "Hey, I got us podcasting equipment. Let's start." And he's like,
I'm like, "What the fuck?"
It's like, I was just joking. Damn.
Yeah.
I'm 50 years old. I can't do a podcast about gay sex or whatever.
Yeah. But that's kind of where we started. We're like, because we're perfectly 20 years apart. I'm 30, he's 50. And we were kind of like filling each other in on like the generational gap, like things I don't know from his time and stuff he doesn't know from my time. I don't know.
I love that idea. That's brilliant.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So during this podcasting journey then thus far, what's the biggest thing you've learned from each other, I guess, through the generational gap of it?
I mean, obviously Todd learned so much about dildos.
Like the size, the girth, the flexibility of them.
Glass versus silicone versus whatever else.
Oh, speaking of, this is TMI. So I just moved into a new house, and during the move I had to pack up all my sex toys. And I don't know if you guys know, or if your listeners know, you shouldn't really be mixing silicone lube with silicone toys.
Facts.
And I think somehow in the move, some of my lube leaked out onto one of my silicone toys, and it like disintegrated. And I was like, well, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, was it your favorite one?
No, it was actually one I got for free for ordering something else.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So everybody here is going to be too old to remember the old Reese's peanut butter commercials where the two people run into each other, and one of them says, "You got chocolate on my peanut butter," and the other one says, "You got peanut butter on my chocolate." It was kind of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I like how he got a free dildo. That means them loyalty points were like way up
right.
there.
Right. I need to know about this website because them rewards will be coming through.
It's like where my Walgreens points at?
I think it was if you just spend enough, you get something for free. And I tend to buy a lot of sex toys because guys aren't so reliable.
That is true.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Wears them out.
Yeah.
Wears them out.
But back to your question. So things that I've learned from Todd. I mean, Todd is just like so humble. Like he kind of grounds me. Okay. So he kind of like keeps me in my head and sane, mostly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do learn a lot from Todd.
Yeah, I would say from Ryan, the thing that I've probably learned the most is that he can find the good in absolutely anybody in every situation. And I tend to be the opposite, so it's a good thing.
Yeah, the yin
Like,
to my
I
yang.
hear that.
Yeah, sure. You do definitely like. I feel like with the three of us, we're similar in that regard. It's just like one might pop off more, and actually anymore, all of us might pop off. But like Jerrell's probably the more pop off person. I'm probably in
Prone.
between. I don't know. Dawon and I kind of go back and forth between probably maybe the in between part of it.
It just
But-
depends on the topic.
Exactly. And so you need that. You need
And how
those
much
friends
grace is
around.
in the topic.
That part.
Or that we
That
have to
part.
give that day.
And sometimes you just need to pop off. I understand.
That
It's true.
exactly. Sometimes you just need to act a fool to get results.
So you just moved to a house. Where are you guys located?
We're in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Oh, I didn't realize you were that close. Why
Where-
did I think
where
you
you
guys were in
guys-
Seattle?
I think Kerel's in Atlanta, right?
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. So only a couple hours.
Mm-hmm.
Greensboro. Yeah. Well, I don't know why I thought Seattle.
We've had some guests on from Seattle. I've got a nephew who lives in Seattle.
Okay.
Not that you're stalking me and you know these things. But
I listen to the podcast, so I hear him there, but I don't know why I missed the Greensboro part of it. I don't know.
Probably the kayaking.
it's,
Right,
probably,
right.
it's probably my northern accent threw you off.
Potentially. Where are you from originally?
No, I'm from here. From
Oh,
yeah,
so never
I
mind.
I very much have a North Carolina accent.
Mm.
I'm like, I don't know. It all sounds the same to me anymore.
So how long have you? Oh,
Go
I was
for
gonna say. Oh, how long have y'all been doing your podcast?
We're coming up on 2 years. August would be 2 years.
Yes, come on, yes, birthday.
awesome.
Right.
Oh my
Yes.
God, we're like the same age. Oh my God.
Yeah, I saw that you guys just celebrated your your second anniversary. Happy second anniversary.
Yes.
Thank
you.
Thank you. Thank
Terrible
you.
twos.
Uh-oh.
Look.
So you guys haven't
We could
so you
echo
haven't
out.
killed each other yet.
No.
What's been the hardest thing about doing a podcast? Like, have you shared more than you thought you would, or you're like, you know what, I came into this very open to share everything?
I mean, I'm always open. It's just, it's kind of weird knowing that other people now who listen are like, hey, I know so much about. So the weirdest thing is like guys I'm talking to, and like I advertise the podcast on like Scruff, and they're like, cool, I get to know you. And I was like, just be prepared. You might get to know me a little too well. And like that's so unfair, because it's like they're learning all of, because like I don't hold back. They're learning all of this about me, and they just don't tell me anything.
Yeah.
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 So,
That would be
Yeah.
interesting, because like we're all in relationships over here, but like that would be interesting to be on an app or whatever, or trying to date someone that listens to the podcast.
Yeah.
Because it's just like we shared way too much as well. It's just like, damn, now you know like probably what position I do like and don't like. But maybe that's a good thing. Hold on.
yeah, like it's a way to screen my potential suitors, you know.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, if they're interested, you know they truly are, because they know about you. So at that point, the ball's in your court. You get to decide whether or not you want them.
Yeah, amen. Right.
And they also know that if they screw around on you and mess up, you're going to talk about them.
Oh, for sure.
Come on, Taylor
That
Swift.
part.
Write a song in an episode or two.
Because
You know, I mean, we can't lie. Like, you know, I know back in my single days and whatnot, when you meet somebody on like one of these apps, the very first thing you do is go on social media to find out a little bit more about them, you know?
100%, Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
So they're like, nope, we'll just go listen to episode 64.
scroll down those list of topics. Ooh, that one sounds good.
Right? That is so
I did
true.
start dating a guy at one point last year. Didn't last long at all. And then he was the first guy to ever cheat. Well, first guy I knew to ever cheat on me. And then I was like, oh, perfect. See, it's like so sadistic too. It was just like perfect podcast topic, but like also it's a medium for therapy, because
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a good thing to get it out there and talk about it. But then also he probably fucking listened to it and was like, I need to hear what Ryan's saying about me.
That's on him.
Yeah.
That's his fault that he did that shit. So
Mhm.
you don't want to hear it on the podcast. Don't fuck
Don't
up.
do it.
Yeah.
That's true. How has podcasting during COVID like either helped you or didn't help you, or how was that process this past year?
I think overall it gave us something to do when there was nothing else to do. So there was that number one.
Yeah.
Like we kind of we first started doing it separate. Like he was in his house, I was in my house. And eventually we decided we were okay. And we came back together, and that was sort of one of the only things we did with other people. So that was very kind of
nice. It was our only social interaction for a while. And it's like,
right.
We need this.
Yeah.
But you probably, I don't know if you guys experienced it. You see, like our listenership kind of take a dive when people stop commuting, they stop listening to podcasts.
It's very true. Like it was very noticeable. Like it was weird. At first you're like, what the hell's going on? Then you're like, oh shit, nobody's in their car. No one's commuting. No one's doing anything. And slowly over time, it got better and got like exceeded everything else. But you're just like, oh man, that's quite interesting that a lot of the podcasting world is like part of your day, and like it's very set. It's just like, okay, I'm in the car from this time to this time. I have this amount of time to listen to it. Might catch up the tail end of the episode on the way home or whatever it may be. But I agree, like during COVID, it was one of those things. Like, and we've said it a few times, just like it turned into therapy, especially the last year with like Black Lives Matter and things like that. It's just like some week in, week out, we're just like, girl, we're going through it right now. That's wild. And so you said you were interested with RuPaul Drag Race, and we just saw that Symone won. Were you happy with that outcome?
Fuck yeah! I was rooting for Symone all along. I think Todd was more of a.
I was a Symone fan from the very beginning. I was all about her. But
he was just anyone but Candy fan.
Yeah, I was anybody except Candy Muse. It could have been Leslie Jordan walking in off the street. I'd have been okay.
Hey, that would have been amazing if it was Leslie Jordan came out there and like photobombed the whole thing.
This is probably true. No, it could have been any of the three. I like Symone. Although it's interesting that the final two, I thought, were the only two of the four who had been in the bottom. Like Rose and Gottmik had never once lip synced.
And it felt very
Rose
almost
actually
rushed.
has lip synced.
Did
she didn't win any of her lip syncs because remember she was part of the Pork Chop crew. And she's lip synced a couple other times and she's lost those lip syncs. Yeah.
That's true.
Okay.
Because they didn't vote anybody off for the first 29 episodes.
Right.
Exactly. The season went on forever.
Dear God, it did.
I think they were like, we've quarantined these queens, so we're getting some mileage out of this.
That is true. They were probably like, we don't know when we're going to be able to film another season. So while we got you, let's film all the seasons in one.
They thought it was like the real world up in there. This is the story of 26 queens living for 37 weeks.
True story.
But Symone's final looks, like the three walkways and then her lip sync looks, oh my God.
Killed it.
When she came out with that massive fro, I was just like, she has to win. Like, this is the best look ever.
Yeah. I just love how like she was very in tune to her culture. Like everything represented her Black culture.
Yeah.
And straight from it, she was like, this is my point of view. So if I'm gonna come out here with a dress with long acrylic nails, like that's what I'm
know why.
Right.
Yeah. You know why. Yeah.
And I also love that she used this platform, RuPaul's Drag Race, to make a social commentary for the Black Lives Matter movement. Like that one outfit she wore, it just had like the gunshots on an all white dress, and then she and it said "say their names." It was just like, it gave me chills. I was like, that's how you do it.
Yeah. That was literally the one episode that I watched this season. I'm not a big RuPaul's Drag Race fan.
Okay, fair.
But I think that was the same episode of the Snatch Game, and I really wanted her to win.
With the Harriet Tubman.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was good. And then I liked that look that she did too for the episode, but they just saved her. But yeah, no, I saw her final pieces. I saw all the final pieces, and I just thought it was just amazing. That white kind of Medusa outfit that she had with like the Underwoman gold piece on the right hand side. That was just
probably can't see it, but like that's My background.
That's your background.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just stunning.
It
Very,
gave me
very
very
stunning.
like half the body gear of Beyonce and the Get Me Bodied back in the day, that performance.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely died for that look. That was fucking amazing.
Was that the top 4 you thought was going to be there?
With the exception of Candy Muse, yes.
Who would you have had in there besides Candy?
Probably Denali. I thought Denali was going to make it farther.
I don't know, but I would say anyone who got sent home after Candy was told she was out and got halfway down the runway, and then Rue said, "Oh, I'm not done yet." Anyone who went home after that, I'd been pissed.
I would have too.
You have my seat. You took my part of the stage.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And somehow you got second place.
and somehow you got second place.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like there's some like TV magic trickery that went on with the recording. It felt fishy from the very beginning. You know, even when Rue was sitting down with all the queens and she was talking with Rose, and Rose was like, "Yeah, I sprained my ankle, you know, a couple months back or whatever." And so that like set a tone for like, okay, well then now you're just expecting her not to be able to perform. You're like waiting to see like what's going to happen. And then it was just like, okay, out of all the queens, they did all that social media press and and all of that promoting of, you know, their own hashtag. And I remember seeing a stat where everybody, where Symone, Gottmik, and Rose were in like the 150 plus 1,000, you know, retweets and tweets and impressions with their tags, and Candy Muse was like 90. So it just felt like some tomfoolery and some trickery with, you know, in this dancery. You know?
Come on, Mary.
Well, I also wondered, like, is there one? I thought, could I just be out of touch? Like maybe the rest, there was somewhere in America that people were really kind of into Candy Muse. And then I just also wondered too, if they were trying to do, I think you were talking about Ryan, or maybe it was Garrett, we're talking about, they were trying to create a redemption story. Like they made her out to be such a sort of a villain. And then suddenly she almost gets sent home. And after that, everything was about how good she was and how sweet she was and how much of a friend she was. And so maybe they were just setting up this redemption type story.
I don't know.
I get that. I'm an avid RuPaul Drag Race watcher, and you know, this is I don't want this to come off as any kind of like bashing, for me anyways, any kind of bashing of Candy Muse. I think anybody that who has been selected to participate in this experience, you're talking about the Olympics of drag. Yeah. You know, so whether you come in first or you're the first one to leave, right? You have made a name for yourself in one way or shape and form. And this is an opportunity for you to leverage the platform that you now have, you know, to really catapult your career. So you know, kudos to all the queens. It's just, I don't know. It seemed to me like this season out of all, and, you know, sidebar, every single reality show is not reality.
Right.
Period. So, you know, like even though this is a competition show, they record multiple endings, they record multiple performances, you know, like even like the lip syncs for your life, they record multiples of those, and then they splice together the pieces that they want to tell the story. So, you know, I know intellectually going into these things that that's the case, but it was just, in my opinion, it was way too obvious. So much so that I think it was a lackluster finale for me, right? Even in the midst of COVID, they had all the opportunity to make it exciting and extravagant and larger than life. And I almost prefer what they did not this season, but season 12, where they were performing in their living rooms. I felt that was more creative and interesting, and, you know, left a lot to be, you know, to the imagination of who was going to win than, you know, this one where they were pitted against each other. So,
yeah. And I will say though, too, that so Candy and Symone, they kind of brought it in the finale in terms of their lip sync. I do feel like Rose just sort of phoned it in, and I don't think Gottmik was her normal hyped up self. So I don't know. I also did feel a little disappointed. I'm thinking, you're in the finale and that's all you brought like with Rose. I thought that was it. So
Well, I'm gonna find out because she's my downstairs
I was
neighbor.
about to say
Oh, is
she's
she really?
Dawon's neighbor.
Is she?
So I was
Do you
Team
know- do you
Rose
know
from the
her?
very beginning. Sorry?
You know her, or you just know she's
Yeah.
your neighbor? Oh, okay.
No, there's only 3 apartments in my townhome, or the townhome that we all live in. So yeah,
Okay.
we're
Wait, Gottmik or Rose is your neighbor?
Rose. Yeah,
That's
we
cool.
need this.
Yeah,
I
she's
know we need to get
incredible.
her on here. That's what we need.
We need to
Spill all
see.
the tea.
We need
Well,
to
you know,
see
she won't be able to
exactly.
say anything. She's under a strict
Right.
contract
That is true.
for the year. Because didn't Tamisha Iman say?
Right, she's like,
she did
what's
a
up
whole
this
Instagram-
contract?
Tamisha Iman went on her Instagram and you know
Uh-huh.
she was talking just a little bit of smack or whatever for about an hour and 15 minutes. But in the midst of it, she made a comment. She goes, "Yeah, I'm telling you, at 12:01 when this NDA is over, I'm spilling all the tea. So I can't wait for this time next year."
Until they call her to come for like All-Star 7, then she's like, you know what,
Right.
never mind, let me hush up.
Right.
It's like, yeah, no, let me get this coinage real quick.
So guys, just getting back to your podcast and everything, you know, you've been doing this for 2 years, right? So, you know, quite a journey, you know, trying to find your voice, trying to do it in a way that feels authentic and engaging with your listeners and with, you know, really great content, things like that. Looking back on these last 2 years, you know, what are some of the biggest ahas that you learned about yourself personally, you know, as you went through this journey with your podcast?
Oh, wow. That's a,
Yeah, I would just say being our authentic selves. I mean, at first we were overthinking like topic ideas, and then the more we were just like, let's just, you know, let it happen. Like, because a lot of our episodes are just us kind of winging it, but it just seems so much more natural, and we have so much more fun that way anyway. So it's just, I feel like when we, you know, settled into our own groove, we were good to go.
and we really worked hard to find like authentic guests.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had a few people on who are either TikTok stars, or they have their own podcast, or they're big in some other way. But a lot of the people are local, or we met through connections of somebody knew somebody, and we just had them come on and tell their story. And just hearing other people's stories kind of grounds you a little bit to say, okay, you know, like people go through some things.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
they're sitting there like still one of my favorite episodes was a guest who came out to his parents, got kicked out of his home and was homeless, lived on the streets of New York,
Wow.
but then got his doctorate, went on to Harvard, and then has his doctorate. And so it's, I mean, just incredible stories.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Wow. How did you come up with the name?
That's just what Ryan says. If you know Ryan, you know he sees someone, he's like, oh hey.
Yeah,
oh,
it's
hey,
funny because
oh, hey.
when we first started the video to like set everything up, I was like, oh hey, and I was like, fuck, I said it again, because like I'm like more conscious of it now after starting the podcast, because I'm like, God, I really do say that a lot, don't
all
I?
the time.
Yeah.
I love the way you shook your head all the
It's
time.
like all the time.
Yeah.
Ryan, you have to know, Ryan walks down the street or walks down the sidewalk and cars are driving by and Ryan's waving at every single person saying, oh, hey, like trying to see who's going to respond back and wave.
I would say about 95% of people wave back because they're just like, who is that? Do I know this motherfucker? What the fuck?
It's like,
I
hey.
Yeah, I like confusing people because they're just, or making them happy, because either way they're like, who the, or like, oh, cool, hey guy.
Right. That's too funny. So, like you said, one of your favorite episodes was that one. What was one of your favorite episodes, Ryan?
Oh gosh.
I know it's a hard question.
I mean, I also have the worst memory on earth. So, all right. So this one time, because we were trying to like keep with the generational thing. So we got someone who was, I think, 10 years younger than me, because he was around 20.
Okay.
And we had him come on and like teach us like all these new terms that we weren't aware of, like visco. No,
at the time it was visco. At the time we didn't know that.
Yeah. Now
I definitely didn't know that. I still don't know it.
I forgot, but he
Wait,
like,
disco? He said disco?
No,
Visco.
visco, like a V.
Visco.
Never heard of it.
Like
It's apparently girls who walk around who have sort of taken on
like the 90s or something.
No, I think it's like they take on like things like they'll say like Yas and Queen and like they try to sound like they take sort of these gay sort of stereotype.
We need to listen
things.
back to
I
that
guess we do because I can be
learn.
totally wrong.
We're making it up as we go. It's
Right.
that's not terminology now.
That's typically what we do anyway.
Yeah. But that was fun.
That's our terminology now. Visco.
Yeah.
Yes, Queen.
Let's
Yeah.
co-opt it.
I know one episode I do remember listening to was about just like body image and things like that. And then another one that stood out was like, I just like the random topics where you have like, okay, one episode is body image and then the next one's masturbation. Like that's the podcast I like, just to show the range. Just like, yes,
Yeah.
you know what? It's like I'm not taking myself too seriously, but everybody jerks off. Come on, it is what it is.
I feel like we've probably had too many episodes about butt stuff, but I feel like there's still a lot to be said about it. So
yeah, actually, that was a fun episode. Do you guys know who Dr. Carlton is? I think he's on TikTok.
he's a TikTok.
Yeah, but
Instagram and TikTok.
He's a colonoscopy doctor. Colonoscopy. What do you call
A
them?
proctologist.
Yeah. So
Apparently to porn stars.
oh yeah, that was really
Okay.
fucking cool.
Oh.
So he was like a proctology doctor to some like famous. He couldn't talk about them, obviously.
Right.
HIPAA. But yeah, he was like, it's so cool being the doctor to some gay porn stars. And he was telling us some like cool tips about, I mean, I knew a lot of them already, but like butt stuff.
Like I was seasoned pro, so he didn't, have to tell me too much, but it was nice to
Yeah.
reaffirm it.
Yeah, exactly.
But stuff. Yeah, I know that I find sometimes we go into it and I'm just like, why in the world? But it seems like those are the episodes that people are like, oh, that was funny, in the DMs. And you're like, oh, well, it resonated with somebody, I guess.
Everybody loves butt stuff. Come on.
Absolutely, right. So going through COVID, then you said you're like by yourself a lot of times. How was COVID, like dating life, sex life, and things like that? Because we're in relationships, so we always like to ask folks that were like single or didn't have that opportunity or whatever. How was the last year in that regard?
So I was actually lucky because I am in a relationship.
Right.
And I guess we were about a year in when COVID happened.
Oh yeah.
And it actually, because all of a sudden we're working from home, even though he lives an hour away, he was able to be here and stay with me a lot. So
That's good.
I mean, I at least had that as company. Poor Ryan.
Yeah.
I mean, I still had very close friends with benefits, so it's not like I
Okay.
was lacking in the sex department.
Right.
But
We all had a bet that Ryan would be the first in our friend group to get COVID.
because I was out there.
You just out there
okay.
living life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was a work at home before COVID happened, so everyone got like a little taste of my life. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. I was talking about being a hoe. The reason working at home would be beneficial is because I don't really interact with people, so I didn't really get exposed to COVID other than hookups or friends with benefits.
Yeah. So not much change then. You're just like, it was like a normal kind of year. Obviously, we know the seriousness of a COVID, but it's just like, but your day in, day out, you're just like, well, I already work at home and let me go get some dick and some ass right quick and come on back home.
Yeah.
I know it's wild to see even like the COVID numbers now in India going the way it is right now.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah.
That it's just like,
Yeah.
because I mean, like, how many people live there? Like billions.
I think they're probably one of the highest populations on Earth.
Yeah,
I think it's the
I heard-
second largest.
Yeah.
I
After
heard
China,
somebody
probably,
this
right?
morning, they were interviewing people who were lined up in parking lots holding their deceased relatives. And said they would have to stand in line for 3 hours just to get them up to the
Crematorium.
the crematoriums where they were, and I guess they were setting up makeshift crematoriums just to get rid of the bodies.
That's wild. That's
Yeah,
sad.
and I read somewhere that they were like burning throughout the night too. Like they're just going. It's very, very sad.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see at least this administration like offering aid and help and
that part, because the former old boy wouldn't have done that. That's for damn sure.
No,
not at all.
So like I know
he wouldn't have wanted anyone here taking vaccines, but he certainly wouldn't be giving it away to another country.
That part.
Unless they kissed his ass. If they kissed his ass, he'd have been all in.
Like you got to build another Trump hotel before I do something like that.
Like what are you gonna do for me before I give you the before I give this to you?
What's my cut? What do I get at it?
Yeah.
So like I know like we have quite a few Indian listeners from India, and so we're thinking of you. Stay strong. I don't know what else to honestly say. It's just like stay home if you can. Mask up if you can, wash your hands, because it's no joke. And that's the scary part of it too. It's just like that's how you get more strains and things like that and variations. And so it's just like right when we think we're kind of like in the clear, who knows what the next year might bring, just because of that. But anyway, we're thinking of you, India. So, but how about we get into the Ask Yo Aunties? We want to get your perspective on this question. So what time is it?
Ask
your
Aunties.
All right, I have it up here. And it says, "Hey Aunties, I have a question about hygiene. If you are on a date and you see that he doesn't clip his fingernails or his nails are dirty, what do you do? Call it out, sit with it. I struggle with dudes who have dirty fingernails, toenails, and bad breath. Is this being too picky or is it just gross?"
The image in my head, but let's have the guests go first.
Do you want to go first, Todd?
So I don't know. I'm thinking about what's the benefit of calling it out. I mean, you could just, okay, this isn't going well and end it and go. They may never know why it didn't work out. But if it's not your thing, if you're saying I struggle with it, then it's not going to be for you. So if you really like this guy, you've got to tell him. But otherwise, I think you just call it and go home.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm
not confrontational though, so that's me.
So I am kind of confrontational because sometimes you got to pop off, right?
Right.
Okay, water. Auntie water.
Versatile water.
This water is not room temperature. Okay. Water is hot.
Yeah. So sometimes my boiling point just
Exactly.
it gets there. But I feel like even then I probably wouldn't call it out because like Todd said, there's no benefit. But to answer their question, it is gross because hygiene. Also, like as gay men, fingers end up places and you don't want to cut up that said place with some talons,
That's a true statement. What you thinking, Henny?
I don't know. I think I probably would say the same thing. Like, unless I was really into the person, I wouldn't say anything. I'm just like, I don't care. I would have just ate my meal, take my drink, and then just like deuces, because then I'll just be sitting there, like I would just go down the rabbit hole, like, how did the nails get so dirty? What are you doing? Oh my God, did you just shake my hand? Oh my God, your hands are dirty. Ew, what's going on? Like, I would just like spiral out of control trying to figure out how long that dirt has been there and what's going on. And then especially if you got bad breath, like you ain't kissed. No, ma'am, no. Like, especially after COVID, like you smell your breath. Like, you should know. You're like constantly doing it
with that mask on,
right? What you
burning
are constantly doing
a
breath check. Like you're doing a breath check every time you put on the mask. So I just think that person's too lazy for me. Now I didn't judge them. Now they lazy. They're not putting effort in their life. I mean, they ain't putting effort in the relationship. Yeah, that's a no for me.
What do you think of Dawon?
Yeah, I kind of agree. It's a little bit of a turnoff, especially just given the context. Like, this is not just a hookup where like you've been texting and it's like, okay, I'm coming over right now, or I'm driving down your street. Let me just pop on over. I'm just coming straight from work. Because some people like that, dirty, grimy, you know, kind of like
Man
sex or
musk.
whatever, you know,
Man
or
musk.
you know, or you know, musky fingers or whatever, you know. But in the context of this is a date, that to me says there was like planning involved, there was a setup, you knew what was going to happen, and I would imagine the potentiality of, you know, a little bit of something happen on after, you know, the little eatery. So I don't think I think it's in poor taste to call somebody out about their hygiene or whatever. I also know that some people prefer their fingernail length to be different sizes, you know, and some people like them long, some people like them short. I like mine super, super short. Like I really don't want to see any of the white part. So just, you know, trim that all the way down, but that's just me. The dirty part, that just, you know, like in the spirit of COVID, when you're supposed to be washing your hands all the time and, you know, like putting on the antibacterial, like it's one of those things where you can't even like not notice that you've got crustolias, you know, and dingleberries on, you know, on your fingernails. I'm sorry. So it, you know, would I be rude? No. Would it also kind of depends on how hot the person is and how sexually attracted I am to them. But I might just not real talk, you know, like they may just be fine and they may work at a, you know, like a I don't know, like a auto shop or what, an auto body or whatever, you know, and it might be one of those situations like, okay, baby, let's come on back to my place. Let me wash your hands first.
Right.
You're gonna start in the shower.
Or let me get these handcuffs up.
Oh, so they ain't touching you at all.
They ain't touching nothing.
I'm just flip flopping at this point.
Hear me out.
No, I agree. Like I here's the thing: we've all at points in time have had dirty nails, bad breath, this and that. But in this certain case, you're on a date. So I agree with you, Dawon. It's just like you knew you were going on a date. Like, so prepare accordingly. Like, at least wash your damn hands. Like, you know?
It also begs the question, what else didn't they clean?
Ooh.
Oh.
Exactly. You judging the whole life at that point. You're like, oh, they don't got it together.
Yeah,
It's just your fingernails.
But then again, like if you like the musk smell and things like that, maybe it turns you on. I don't know. But for me in my house,
so let me ask you this:
with your ministry,
right? With my ministry,
is it worse if you're on a date and that's what you find, or a hookup, which is worse
on a date?
Yeah,
I think a hookup.
Oh,
I think it's a hookup. I think it's worse on the hookup.
Because then you don't get the opportunity to say clean yourself up. It is what it is.
Right, exactly.
There's not another chance.
And then you have to say something as you're escorting them out. Like, oh, actually, you don't cross the threshold because I just peeped your fingertips. Your breath stank. You gotta go. Like, at least on a date, you can play it off. You know, you got the other side of the table. You can just, you know, like you can work with the situation. Right. You yeah.
Ooh, I got
like
bubbles.
kissing them.
Because I'm just thinking, like, how many times though in a hookup situation have you been like, hold on, let me look at your nails? You're probably already in the situation before you realize it.
Let me tell you, like Ryan said, if they're too damn long, you scratching shit. I didn't look. I didn't kick the person.
Hold on, wait a minute. We can't take body count number 6 over here as advice when it comes to the hookups.
Hey, let me tell you, that fingernail still was not okay. Okay, so had to be known. Had to be known. Ain't nothing cute about a finger going in with a long ass nail. That shit ain't comfortable. It ain't cute.
I do feel the only thing I feel with, and I want to kick it back to you guys. But I do kind of feel like in a hookup situation, those are oftentimes random, right? So, and depending on what you're into, you know, like, and the kind of penetration and sexual activity that you're into, it may or may not make a difference one way or another, you know, like those kinds of things. So, you know, like, again, back in the day, being on Grindr, driving home from work, from Schaumburg back to downtown Chicago, got 30 minutes to figure out what's up. I worked all day. I may work in the office, but you know what I mean? Like, don't have time to go home.
No, I don't know what you mean. Wait till you get back home, then get your ass on Grindr. After you prepped and put on the work.
I'm with the one on that one.
No.
Again,
that's a top mentality. That's a top mentality. Let me tell you, if I'm gonna sit there and I'm a douche and I'm gonna put in the effort to give you what you want, oh, you best believe them they better be bounce fresh, okay, bitch? I better see the driest sheet as you walk through the motherfucking door in between them balls, okay? I ain't putting that effort just for you to be, it's just a hoe. Nah, bitch, this is some grade A hoe, okay? Thank you very much.
You said, where that snuggle at?
Okay, look, that's enough for me.
She said, where?
That's funny.
So hear me out here, guys. So you're on the date with this guy. He has like some stupid long fingers. Let's play the long game here. Let's date him. Let's take him out on more dates. Let's become official. And then when you get him in your own bed, like maybe 10 more dates in, you're official. When he's sleeping, just clip his nails. Maybe like brush his teeth while he's sleeping. And
is this a guy or a dog?
That's what I was thinking.
Give him some peanut butter. Give him some peanut butter. Like,
come here, boy. Come here, boy.
And then in the morning you just leave, and you're like, sorry, I just had to fix that. Bye.
Ryan's apparently into fixer-uppers. I'm surprised you bought a brand new house.
I mean, you lost me after 10 days. I said, oh, that's a lot of work.
No, you get 2 dates. That's all. Like,
thank you.
I have a 2-date rule. Everybody gets a second date, but there's no guarantees beyond that.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a second date.
Because the first one could just be like nerves,
a bad day.
any number. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I try to do that too. I mean, I don't think
I had that rule. I was like, if I ain't feeling it, oh no, it's time for me to hop back on this app.
I mean, you ain't never like had so much in common with someone, but then the connection was off.
Sitting there on the L, like, okay, who's next?
You apparently live in a larger city than us.
That is true. I have lived in some larger cities over time, so that is very, very true.
I wonder if a circumstance like this, like imagine if this was you, this happened to you, right? And however it is that you dealt with it, I just wonder if that creates a trauma for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you then look at everybody's fingernails from that point on? Like, you might have never really looked at somebody's, like fingernails or whatever, but when this happened, does that create trauma? That then all of a sudden every person you be zooming in on their pictures, like looking at their fingers,
It must be. Like, I don't think I ever, like, I don't, like, because I'm not a germaphobe, but like, you're gonna wash your hands, at minimum. So it's just like, but thinking back, I don't know if I ever truly looked, like, say Corey, like now my husband, I don't know at the time if I truly looked at his fingernails. I think like you could tell by the way maybe someone's dressed, the way they came in and things like that, a little more than just like the fine details, like, oh, let me see your hand, let me look, But I think over time, you can potentially tell if someone's hygiene is up to par, whether it be you're hooking up with them or you go to their place and it's not as clean as you may want it and things like that. I think I see that more than the fingernails, but I do need you to wash your hands. So it's just, and maybe that's just like almost a common thing. It's just like, I assume you're going to wash your hands. But maybe that's not a good assumption.
You nice, because I pay attention to hygiene. I look from toes on up. Be like, okay, all right. Just saying.
Have you two stopped a date because of hygiene, or stop? Has that been the reason why you haven't gone to date 3?
There's that one time that you were with the hoarder.
Oh yeah.
Spill it.
Well, I didn't get in the door. Like
literally.
I mean, I knew it was a problem when I got there, and he stuck his head out the door and didn't open the door, and I thought, okay, this is odd. And he said, I just moved in, so I'm going to step back and close the door, and then you open it and come in because I've got all these boxes. And I thought, and so he stepped back. I opened the door, and it was floor to ceiling, and there was no I just moved in. Like it was hoarder with paths through it. So I just closed the door and ran right on back to the car and hit block and kept on moving. Like I didn't even go in there.
I would have kept it pushing too.
Oh my, yeah, that's a bit much. That's the line for real. Yeah. That's the line for me.
Absolutely.
I have a problem with commitment and like the opposite of what you think. So when I commit to something, I do it no matter what. Like, so I've been on dates where I'm like, oh, I fucking promised this guy that I'm going to go on a date with it, but I'm not feeling it anymore. So I push myself because like we've all been on the other side of that, like someone canceling on us.
That's true.
And I get in my head, like, I don't want to be that guy for someone, even if nothing happens with us. Like, I don't want to be the person who could fuck with their psyche. So I just always commit.
So I think there needs to be an app where you rate your dates, and everyone has to be on it. And so what you do is when the date's over, you fill it out, and then the other person can see how people.
So you got an Uber rating?
It's a Yelp. It's a Yelp review for your. It's a Yelp review for your date.
And I would have appreciated that. Like after some dates, I wanted to know, but I mean, I think it would be a good thing.
Ooh, that sounds
like see it being messy.
That sounds like Black
Mirror. Turn the
Mirror.
person down. Like, what if you were like, I'm not into them, all of a sudden they get mad at you and they're like, I'm gonna give this person a bad review for their date.
But you got to be diplomatic about it then, I guess. I don't know.
You're very trusting, boo, because you know the way social media they be out here trying to cancel people, tear people down.
True.
Especially in the gay culture, bitches be petty.
I just thought of a one that I should have definitely just kept going. So this one time, it was like a year or two ago. I was just like super fucking horny, and I was like, I just need some dick. So
dick 30.
Right. So I met up with this guy, right? And he's like, hey, can you meet me here? And I'm like, sure. And then I get to the address, and it's like a rundown house, and I was like, oh, this is a no for me. And I was like, where are you? I'm here. And he's like, oh, I'm outside. I'm walking up. And I was like, this is super sketch. I'm probably gonna die. So I think I sent the address to one of my friends, but like me being who I am, I'm like, I'm still gonna commit. I'm also still horny.
It's like that dick picture got me. That dick picture got me.
So
been there.
He was like, oh, can we drive somewhere? I'm like, the fuck? You don't okay. So many red flags, but still I'm going through it. So I pick him up in my car. He's in the passenger seat. And then upon further inspection, I'm like, oh, you have like meth teeth, which is none. And I was like, oh, this is a super red flag. But now I'm like, I'm in it. So I have to get done with this. So I was like, I was going through it. And I was like, can you please just finish? Like, I'm done. I want to go. And he was like, I don't think it's going to happen. Can we go to this like gas station down the road? I have to get something. And I was like, oh God, you know what? I need to start canceling on people. And then, eventually I tried to finish him off, and it still wasn't happening. Who fucking knows what was going on with him?
Wait, okay, hold on.
There's a lot to unpack.
There's too much to unpack. First, continue to send your SUSC questions to aya@minorityareport.com or DM us. B, was the dick that good that you were that committed?
No, that's just who I am. I want to commit until it's done. I don't know why, some kind of mental thing, but
then C, since he couldn't get off, is it still traumatizing you today? Be like, damn, I did not get him off.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty like nonchalant. Like nothing really affects me.
Okay. That's interesting. That's a lot.
This is not one of Ryan's better moments, I'll just say.
Yeah.
Wait, this is one of the better moments?
No, said it was not.
Oh, I was like,
I mean, I've had some moments in the past. Like, I remember this. Oh God, here we go. I don't have to share this, but I'm going to. I remember like this is my Indiana days. So like so there were times where I did live in small town America where it was like slim pickings, and like we had the episode where you print that map quest off and before the apps and shit,
wow.
you know.
Yeah.
You remember that printing map quest and driving like 30 fucking minutes for some ass and dick.
We had a whole conversation about that.
But I remember I showed up to this guy's place, and he didn't look like his picture as much, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Even though it was pre-COVID, maybe he got that COVID weight or something like that. I fluctuate too. It is what it is. So I get in there, and it's just like that awkward energy. You're just like, okay, this is gonna be weird. And so he didn't want to like fuck. He wanted to like he wanted to like grind his dick against like my chest until like he came. And I'm like laying there like and it was like one of those moments you're just like, I don't know what to do. It's like, I'm here. So do I just like jerk off to it, get off? It is what it is. But I didn't even get off. I was like, this is so fucking odd and not what we talk about on this app. Or
experience like
I think it was Adam for Adam at that time. That was like, oh my, and I remember to this day, this was probably like 15 years ago.
You should have reached over and grabbed the remote control and turned the TV on.
See, it was so awkward. But again, it's like one of those moments you're like, well, I'm in the house, like I'm here, like I guess I will go through with it. But I learned from that one that I was like, next time if I don't get that good vibe, that energy, the second I'm in there, it might not go down.
And conversation communication is really the key, you know, because I imagine after a situation like that, when it comes to like hookups, your conversation got a little bit different. Like, well, what are you into?
Literally.
Let's clarify up front before I make the trip.
Before I like spend my good gas money, before I like use my printer ink for this piece of paper and everything, and drive my ass 30 minutes for this bullshit.
Don't you think some of that is being young?
For sure.
Like I would imagine. I'm going to try to help redeem Ryan a little bit. I would imagine he wouldn't do that again. Like he probably learned from it.
Probably.
Yeah. I think it's when you're young.
It's the probably for me. Like see the process. Thought about it for a second.
Well, okay. You know. I mean, I definitely did learn from that. Because now I require more information before
and more teeth.
Yeah. It's the no teeth for me.
Oh my God, that is too funny. But yeah, it definitely that was a young, at least, moment for me too. Because it's just like, especially I was still in the closet at that point. So you're just like, oh, I just want to get off and this and that. But that's when I realized I was like, there's some weird shit going on. And this part of the weirdness ain't for me. Some other weird shit. Okay, I'm here for it.
So you've got somebody asking a question about fingernails and we're talking about somebody with no teeth. So that's a whole other level.
That's a whole nother level. Oh my God. But yes, continue to send your questions to aya@minorityareport.com or DM us. We enjoy these questions. Oh my God. It got me thinking of these weird situations I've been in now. Did you guys watch the Oscars at all?
I did not. I have no way of, could you watch them if you don't have cable? I don't even know.
It was on ABC.
It was on ABC.
So if you have regular TV, you could watch it. But I think like Hulu put it on the next day, like on Monday, and I was like, why would I want to watch this? Like,
it was terrible.
That's what I heard.
It got good when Lil Rel came, and there was like a 20-30 minute window where it's like, okay, this is what the show should have been, because Andrew Day was like on the mic, Glenn Close got up and did the butt, the butt. That was funny. But other than that, I was like, wow, I know COVID has changed a lot of stuff, but this might have been the worst award show out of this last year of COVID stuff. It was terrible.
It's almost like, did you learn anything from like what a show could look like in the context of COVID? Because there were really great examples of highly successful shows, you know, and the format of which that was socially distant, etc. It just seemed like they just said, fuck it, we just gonna try something different.
It was, and And it was weird just because like a lot of the celebrities were there. So like you had a prime opportunity to put them in a different light potentially, you know, or see a funnier side of them or things like that. It literally like an hour in, I was sitting there like, this fucking sucks. And so then I went to YouTube, watched YouTube for like an hour, came back to see if it was got better. That's the part when I saw like the Lil Rel part. So I was like, okay, it's getting better. It's getting better. And that was like the peak. And then it just sucked. And then it ended abruptly because Anthony Hopkins won for Best Actor. They set it up to make it appear that Chadwick Boseman was going to win. Mm-hmm. Then they're like, the winner is Anthony Hopkins. He's not here to accept the award. Good night. You're like, oh, okay, that's how we're ending the show. It was terrible. And they're wondering why the ratings were so low.
Were there even any movies out?
That's a good question.
I mean, that was my other thing.
Well, like, didn't I didn't watch either, but didn't the Lucas brothers win for Judas and the Black Messiah?
They won. Let me think. What? Maybe like screenplay or something like that. Because I think best movie was Nomadland.
Mm-hmm.
Best director was Nomadland as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember anything else. Everything else, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was like you said, like no one saw movies this past year. Really.
Yeah.
So it's just like a lot of the movies they were saying, like any year with Oscars, half the movies you're like, okay, I didn't see that. I didn't see that. What is that?
Mm-hmm.
But for sure this year, you're like, huh? Definitely didn't see that. Don't know what that is. Who is she? Who is that? Like,
yeah.
They should.
I was glad that the movie Soul won for Best Animated Film. That movie is so good. That. It's so good. Yeah, puts you in the feels. Yeah,
really. Pixar has a habit of doing that.
Didn't the short win with the little drawing?
The
it was animated about the family that lost their daughter to a school shooting or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yep.
That was good. I haven't seen that. That's pretty good.
And it's like where anymore, it's just like some of these movies are across so many different platforms. It's like you got to have every damn platform anymore to see some of this stuff. It's like, okay, you got to have HBO Go or HBO Plus, whatever the hell it is, Max. Go and Paramount Plus and the mountain over here, and it's like,
and you got to have $20 or $30 or whatever it is just to rent it. I can't do that.
It's hilarious because like the point of cord cutting was to save money, but now there's like 17 different streaming apps, at least $5 each, and you're like, well, fuck it, I'm paying the amount for cable now anyway.
Literally.
But you know what though? What I will say is that you get your money's worth. That
you think so?
You know, little for me. I have everything.
You're a TV.
I'm a TV. I love TV because I spend most of my day, just like a lot of people are just like on Zoom calls. But like my profession keeps most of my work in my own head. So, you know, it's all strategy work, communication work, you know, like coaching, engaging, all that kind of stuff. So it takes a lot out of me. So at the end of the day, all I really want to do is, you know, make a nice meal and sit my happy black ass on the sofa
and zoom and the boom boom.
Exactly. Zoom, and Hulu and, you know, whatever. But I will say that the stuff that I pay for, I get value out of it because the programming is that good.
Mm-hmm.
And then
what are you binging? What's on that we should be watching?
Well, what I'm watching right now, you may not want to watch, but just given the fact that you are a RuPaul Drag Race watcher, I am watching The Circle on Netflix. I don't know if you've heard about that, but it's on season 2.
My boyfriend is watching it. He was telling me about it tonight. Said he's sucked in and he can't get out. So
I saw the first season. We watched the first episode the other night, but Corey's like, fuck this. He's like, you know how Corey is. And so like, I was like, well, I'm not about to like sit here and watch all these shows by myself, but I think I'm going to, because like, even after the first episode, I was like, well, I kind of want to know what happens.
It's a really interesting anyway for me, because it is a social experiment on, you know, like, yes, it's like on the surface, it's basically you have a group of people that live in this apartment building that the only way that they interact with each other is through this app. And so they can see pictures, but you have no idea whether or not the pictures are real or not. So you could be some that are catfishing and people that are just being themselves. And at the end of the day, they rank each other, and then they have an influencer that votes, people off. And then at the end of the season, the people that have the highest votes win a prize of like $100,000 or whatever it is that they win. But that to me is not the interesting part. The interesting part to me is the psychological gymnastics that happen, in terms of how people are playing the game. And for me, what really got me hooked in was, in one of the previous seasons, there was a young lady who was a plus size model and a positivity model, using her size as a platform, and her social media as a platform to encourage people to embrace who they are. But she entered the contest as, a skinny person. And midway through, she had kind of as she's forming relationships by interacting with people, because you only see a fraction. These people are in this thing all day, all night. So they're interacting with each other, playing games. You only see a fraction of their interaction and conversations. She started forming in her mind, real relationships with others. And it started her to question, am I really, like, is this the right thing for me to be doing, not being myself? And then she exposed herself, and they embraced her even more. So like, that was just so ingratiating and, validating to see that there are those moments of,
that's a great word, Dawon.
You know,
Dawon is back, bitch.
Right.
That's a word right there.
Yeah.
But,
I actually know one of the people on this season, and I've met her like a few times too.
Really?
Like, so I don't know her. I followed her, and I've met her a few times.
I stalked her a few times. That's
Right,
I followed her volleyball career, but I've actually met her and seen her play and gotten to play against her a handful of times too. It's like, so Kat Bell, who came on this season. Yeah, I've actually gotten to see her, chit chat with her, have drinks, do shots with her, and everything. Like, I've actually met her a few times. So she's good people. So that's who I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what are you watching? What are you watching, Todd and Ryan?
So I'm like super late to the game. I just finished Game of Thrones. I know everybody else finished that years ago. And then I get sucked into things like, on HBO, there's this pottery show, like competition show. People throw pottery and they get voted out, and I get sucked into that. But then but now I'm thinking I've got to go take a pottery class. I'm ready. Like when I was watching the British Bake Off, I mean, they're baking 3-pound cakes a week, because why would you not?
Oh man, you sound like Corey. Like, I could tell when Corey's either been watching something or on TikTok, because he'll like either make something or suggest something that just seems a little different than what he would normally do. Like the other night he made like this stuffed bell pepper with like steak and cheese and onions. It was delicious. But I was like, that doesn't sound like a Corey dish. I was like, what made you want to make this? He's like, I saw it on TikTok. I was like, okay. So he's similar. Like, he would watch the pottery show. Now we're going to be taking fucking pottery lessons. He'll watch.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, he wants to do this now. So I understand it.
I'm glad Fizz leaves me out of that stuff. He's just like, oh, I'll go do this by myself. Go for it. Do it. Leave me out of it.
I love that for you.
Right. Come on, Alexis.
Yeah.
But I do know Master of None, their third season is about to be about a Black lesbian couple with Lena Waithe and her wife. So I'm interested in that. I haven't seen the first 2 seasons, but I saw this poster and I was like, that sounds interesting.
So didn't what's his name get taken off of it because he got into some sort of
Aziz?
Yeah.
So he's like, you know what? Let me just get in the background and just help write the show now.
Yeah. But Pose, the last season of Pose starts, I believe, next week. I think May the 5th. If I'm not mistaken.
May 2nd. So the day before this comes out.
Yep.
Wait,
So
the last season?
Yeah, it's not
last season.
The final season. Yeah, it's coming to a close. So it should be pretty interesting and emotional and
man.
And this is going to be, I was just about to say, this is letting y'all know right now, we always recap.
We're going to be talking about it.
So we'll make sure that we'll put in there. Don't listen from this time. The time.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Look, you are late if you ain't watched it in a week. You are. It's not
Yeah.
a spoiler. You're just
It's a
lazy.
movement.
Right.
It's a whole movement.
So we talked about all last season. We're gonna talk about this season, especially since it's the last season. So get ready, or earmuffs. So I'm excited about that. Dear White People is coming back out. The Black Lady sketch show is out now, which was funny. That the first episode was good.
When they talked about MASH, I was like, oh my God, I remember doing MASH as a kid.
Everything.
Like, who you're gonna be married to this person, you're gonna make this money, have this many kids, and drive this kind of car. I was like,
it's like, yes.
I was like, oh, okay. That was a thing.
So speaking of Black sketch comedy shows, have you guys heard of the Astronomy Club?
No.
Oh my God,
Astronomy
fucking hilarious. All Black cast. So the premise is,
you better put us on.
I know.
So the premise is they kind of make it seem like it's the real world ish. It's just all these people in one living space, and it's all fake, obviously. And then it kind of recaps their life living in the same house, but then it pans to like a sketch, and then it goes back to the house, and then they're all fighting over the same salt lamp or something, and they're like, no, it goes in my room. But then it goes to another sketch. So fucking funny.
I'm gonna check that out.
I saw this. Yeah, it's super fun.
Yeah.
Kenya Barris. Okay.
Because it came out in 2019. That's why I didn't like ring a bell. The Astronomy Club, the sketch show. Yeah.
I'm gonna check that out. Okay.
Sorry, yeah.
It just put us up on game.
It popped in my head when you said the all-female Black sketch comedy.
The Black Lady sketch show.
Yeah. I was actually watching an interview from God, I'm really bad with names, but the creator, and the interviewer was like, "Why did you name it the female Black sketch?" See, I'm gonna fuck it up.
Black Lady sketch show.
Black Lady sketch show, and she's like, I just really wanted to be upfront about what it is, because some people are gonna be like watching the show and they're gonna be like, "Why is everyone Black?" So she's like, "I just wanted to be,
I love Rob. Was it Robin Thede?
I forgot her name.
Yeah.
I'm really
that's
her.
right.
I love her.
Yeah.
I love her.
Yeah.
It's a lot of good stuff come out. Of course, right when like COVID kind of lets things open up, it's like I don't want to be in the crib watching all this shit now because I want to be out. But there's a lot of good TV coming out. But before we get out of here, too, I know that tonight is the night that Joe Biden's doing his address to Congress. So by the time this episode comes out, he would have already addressed it. But we just want to say real quickly, we'll maybe go around the circle here, or the square. Give him a grade in his first 100 days. We'll start with you. Let's say Todd.
So I don't know what the grade would be, but I'm going to give him props for. He said he would have a very diverse cabinet. He followed through with that. He put someone trans right up there in the front. He's done that part, and that's been great. And then, of course, the vaccine. He's far exceeded what he set out to do. So I'm giving him props for that. I think so far so good. I'm with it.
Ryan.
Oh God. So I'm really bad politically always. I really only paid attention to Trump's presidency because I'm like, how is he fucking us over now? And I more so don't pay attention as much because I'm like, well, I know he has Biden has the best interest. Well, my mind thinks he has the best interest for us, which,
right.
Presidents never really do. But I don't know. It's just kind of a relief not having to pay attention to the news 24/7. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really bad. Sorry.
What do you think of Dawon? Go ahead.
I would give him.
I was gonna say 60 out of 100.
Like a D.
That's a C.
Yeah.
I agree with a lot of the sentiments there. I am thrilled that he came out like gangbusters and repealed a lot of, some of the draconian, fucked up, like these bills that that 45 put out there. So that I think that's really great. I think the thing that I would rate him a B, a solid B. I think the thing that is preventing me from rating him an A or even a B plus is he hasn't done enough for Black people, in my mind. You know, it's wild that we got an executive order to go through and acknowledging the you know, the hate that's been happening, the racial hate that's been happening against the Asian community, but Black people have been targeted for meanwhile, this has been happening for the last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Black people have been, you know, under duress for 400 years, and we still can't get a lynching bill through the House and the Senate.
Yeah.
And there's been, I think, six to eight attempts. So, you know, I understand that there has to be prioritization, but, you know, he got on the Breakfast Club and said, you know, if you don't vote for me, you're not Black. Well, bitch, we voted for you. So what are you doing for us? You know, Janet Jackson, what have you done for us lately? I get that we've got like he's putting, you know, people in powerful positions. And I get, you know, that we've got a COVID bill that's providing a lot of relief, that's funding a lot of Black people, but we are still being targeted, you know, and our people are still dying in the streets at the hands of these police officers. And, you know, there's nothing that is being done at the executive level to really be able to address that. And that to me is problematic. And I think, you know, if that doesn't get addressed soon, you know, he and the Democratic Party, regardless of the progress, we got him. In fact, Yo State got him in the White House.
Thank you very
Atlanta.
much. Yeah.
You know, Black people showed out. So, you know, you would think that would be the first thing on, you know, on his 100, I wouldn't say first thing, but a priority within his first 100 days to be able to offer something back as, you know, hey, this is a taste of what I will be able to do over the next 4 years. And we haven't seen that yet. So Biden, it's on you.
Jerrell.
Yeah, I mean, I give him a B plus. You know, I have to remember to just again remember it's been 100 days, and it's not like he had 100 days where shit was all gravy. No, he had 100 days and he went into shit. He had to. So many of those days were undoing the shit that 45 had done. So I have to keep all that in mind when I'm giving him this grade, because there's a lot that needs to be done, especially towards our people, especially to our Black folks that are being murdered at a ridiculous rate by the police at this point. However, I can't not acknowledge and appreciate all the other things he has done too. You know, like Todd mentioned about the diversity in his cabinet, you know, like we've seen him do when it comes to COVID in our country and stuff like that as well too. I would, like Dawon said, in the next, maybe if it ain't been addressed by August, by the end of summer, it's gonna be some shit. I just know that this fall.
Yeah.
Like it needs to be, if not number 5, number 6 or 7 on that list. That at that point. But that's really what's stopping me from giving him an A as well. But given the circumstance of what he had to deal with going into office and what he has done so far, he gets a B plus out of my book. So
yeah, like I was thinking a solid B, maybe B minus for the same reasons. Just it's like, okay, I know 100 days, because like you go into a new job, you get that first 90 days, you're like, you got to fill shit out, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
However, comma, in the second 100 days, like you said, by August, if we're still literally having mass shootings and literally Black people getting killed by cops weekly, because Andrew Brown Jr., literally, we had just wrapped up the podcast last
It's almost
week,
daily at this point.
and that came through, and we're just like, golly. So it's just like, that needs to be addressed now. It needs to be addressed before the midterm elections, because we just got the census data too, and there's some seats shifting in more
and more red
states.
Yeah.
So we need to lock this shit up now. Figure it out now. So I agree. I'm in the B-ish, like an 84%. Some people give it a B, some people say it's a minus. That's where I'm at. But hey, we love you, gents. We follow your shit. Like I follow you all the time.
We love you too.
We appreciate you all taking time to come and hang with us. Tell us your social. Where can they find you? Where can they find your podcast and all that good stuff?
I tend to fuck it up, but I'll try to. We are at Oh Hey the Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. And if you want to reach us via email, we're just ohheythepodcast@gmail.com.
Perfect. And what days do your podcasts come out?
Same as yours, actually. Mondays.
It's a great day.
Oh, so yeah, a good way to start the week.
Twins.
Hey.
Right.
But thank you again, and community, be safe out there. Continue to wash your hands, wash your legs, wash your ass, and we'll see.
And clip them nails.
Clip them nails.
Love y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Take care.
Bye.